The Science of Education. There are 2 projects in the Science of Education: New Experimental Schools and a Bridges to Tomorrow Park. The new experimental schools. The system we have been using for educational standards and guidelines is no longer applicable for today's times. It served most people well in the past, but it is time for a change. The children entering schools now are much more evolved than the present generation, which is in charge of the schools. An entirely new approach must be put into place. Our system has not kept pace with the evolvement of humanity. The Science of Education addresses the fact that the first thing people need is to be in harmony within themselves. Harmony can be achieved by giving people their self-esteem. Self-esteem only comes from the expression of the soul. Expression of the soul can only come by opening the creative channel through the arts. We need a school system that will bring the arts back into education. Instead of stressing sports, which are an outer expression of the physical body, more focus needs to be given to art, which is an inner expression of the soul. These new millennium schools are based on a breakdown of 12 levels of vibratory progress in the human brain. There are 4 sections with 3 levels in each. The 12 grades would be grouped in 4 sections with 3 grades in each section. The focus would follow the diagram of the brain, 4 sections with 3 levels in each section. This will give a cyclic basis of focus, starting with an exoteric or outer left brain focus for grades 1, 2, and 3, an esoteric or inner right brain focus for grades 4, 5, and 6, followed by exoteric left brain for grades 7, 8, and 9, and esoteric right brain for grades 10, 11, and 12. The halls of training, the focus of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grades would be on physical activities. The halls of learning, grades 4, 5, and 6, will work with balancing the emotional body. The halls of knowledge, 7, 8, and 9, will stress mental pursuit. The halls of wisdom, 10, 11, and 12, will stress spiritual growth and understanding. Schools will operate on trimesters, 3 months of school with 1 month off, repeated around the calendar. This will follow the guidelines for pauses that are necessary for more effective education. It will also allow a new group of students to enter at the beginning of each trimester. Each grade will have a skylight of the color that matches the musical tone of their grade and a decorating scheme based on the chord for that tone. There will be new playgrounds designed around the different kingdoms, mineral, botanical, and the animal and human divisions of the biological kingdom, which will help the transmutation of instinct to that of intuition. These playgrounds will be incorporated into the curriculum as a class. Future schooling will cover the first 20 years or so of life. The halls of training and the halls of learning are the lower grades, and the halls of knowledge and the halls of wisdom the higher. They each encompass higher goals than those in place now, so that a college education is completed by the time they leave the halls of knowledge. After that, they will enter the halls of wisdom. These are specialty schools of short duration because a student will already have the equivalent of a college education. The Bridges to Tomorrow Park. I would like to propose the building of a park that is dedicated to new ideas for a better tomorrow, not only for all people, but also for the planet. This park would serve as a showcase for all the wonderful new ideas for the health, growth, and well-being, not just for people, but for all kingdoms. By achieving this, we will also be achieving the ultimate state of perfection for our planet itself. It really is time to step out boldly and demonstrate where present-day methods of education and science are failing us, and how present-day organizations could serve us better by becoming tools of inspiration for the future. This park is to be a shining vision of a new world. It will be an enormous undertaking and can't be accomplished by one person or even a few. It will take many people for this to become a reality, but will also benefit many people, especially all those who have been working toward the same goal, a better tomorrow for everyone. The focus of the park will be on the direction of our planet in this new millennium. It would be laid out as bridges to tomorrow, having paths with symbolic bridges leading to the exhibits. There would be 7 main bridging paths, with each path having smaller trails off from it. The 7 bridging paths would be based on the 7 different kingdoms: elemental, geological, botanical, biological, the largest division, prismatic, atmospheric, and astronomical. Each bridging path would be designed with that particular kingdom in mind. All new ideas showing the possibilities of future growth for each kingdom would then fit into the exhibit located at the end of one of these 7 bridging paths or one of the connecting trails. For the Fantastic Human division, exhibits could be divided into those new ideas that will help the 4 different parts of the human: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. For instance, there could be exhibits incorporating the interpretive paintings of the chakras, along with colored light displays and musical compositions. There would be much research into nutrition for the humans, along with research into finding the musical ketone of the blood. Appropriate music and videos could be shown continuously and would be very inspirational, with models of future cities or aspects of those cities. There would be a permanent but changing art display incorporating art from all cultures. There would also be a theater for stage productions such as dance recitals, choral programs, plays, or instrumental concerts by composition contest winners. These would be changing at all times. There would be demonstrations of new methods of teaching music to children by tying music into the other arts, such as color and drawing and interpretive dancing. This park could be started and its goals become known worldwide through the internet with its own web page. This way, the park would actually have its beginnings as a virtual reality on the internet, becoming a physical reality at a later time. All those participating would be able to be in constant touch through email for coordinating efforts. Therefore, where a person is located will not matter as far as their involvement in the project. The Science of Biology. The Science of Biology has 2 projects: the DNA codes and a blood test machine. The first project is the personal music charts giving the DNA codes. Practical understanding of the genetic code and the musical code being identical will necessarily need to come through either a musician who understands biology or a biologist who understands music. The practical approach will be writing a composition for a person and then having a laboratory test and interpret that test in a form or chart that will immediately show the correlation between the genetic and musical codes. This is asking much, but you will be composing beautiful music at the same time, the creation suite. Each one's composition is very individual, with the aspects having mental and physical strengths. These strengths are either harmony or melody, depending on whether they are inner or outer strengths, with outer, physical strength being melody tones and inner strength, mental, being the harmony of the overall tone for that body. These compositions then show the chromosomal makeup of that body, with the DNA being the actual scale and genomes being the chords and the RNA being the cadences. The genetic code in each human is his own personal composition. The basis of harmony in the body is set at birth, not only as far as the physical form, but also as far as the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. In the music charts, the coded harmony inherent within all scales is the person's DNA. The chromosomes making up the genetic code of each individual are tiny subatomic particles which are encoded with the musical vibration or tone. In the science of biology, the theory being proposed is that the blood of each person vibrates to a certain musical tone. The vibratory charts will be the basis for these personal music charts, which will allow for perfect individual growth and well-being. These personal music charts will be based on the vibratory rate of the blood for each human being. The vibration of the blood is set at birth. It is passed from the parents and is one of our genes of physical evolution. Each newborn baby should be tested as to its ketone. There is much more to be learned about the science of music as far as applying it to the science of healing. The tones and colors all tie in with different parts of the physical body by relating to the chakras of the body and the energy lines flowing through the body. 7 different chords will be built on the KeyTone to correspond to the 7 chakras in the body. The KeyTone Machine. To be able to do the personal music charts, we need to be able to find the pitch of the blood in a scientific manner. This will be accomplished by a new blood test done by a machine I call the KeyTone Machine. The ketones will be found in the red cells of the blood. Therefore, in testing the blood to find the musical pitch, our goal is to remove everything from the sample of blood except the red and white cells, which are then taken to a dry or solid state. At this point, a vibratory reading can be made, establishing the musical tone or ketone of the blood. There are sensors available that will register the 12 chromatic steps of the scale. The vibration is registered by a very sensitive vibratory probe attached to an amplifying microphone. The salts in the blood are the conductors of the electrical current of the blood. They are quite necessary because without them, the electrical current would not be able to flow freely throughout the entire body. When medical people work with the blood, either whole blood or plasma, the salts are still in it. It is the removal of the salts from the blood that will allow the vibration to be recorded. This is a process that has not been done before. This is why the electrical vibration or ketone of the blood has not been discovered as yet. Finding the ketone is a 3-step process. These 3 steps have each been done individually and 2 of them in combination, but not all 3 in combination. The testing for cholesterol is a separation process, but not a drying by vacuum process. In other words, the liquid content is still present and adding to the reading. This is entirely necessary for this kind of testing. When the liquid is present, the electrical content cannot be measured because the liquid disperses it. This is its job, to disperse the electrical vibration throughout the body, and it cannot be contained in enough mass to register the vibratory rate. A fairly large sample of blood is needed because of the minute size of these remaining cells. Without a large sample to begin with, there would not be enough to register the tone strongly enough to catch it. With the removal of the salts, the residue is able to be reduced by spinning to a semi-solid glob that will then produce a vibration undetectable by human ears because of the minute quantity we will be working with. If the test was done with large amounts of blood, the human ear would be able to register this vibration. Regardless, the vibration will fill the container with its field, and a very sensitive monitor will be able to transfer this vibration to a computer readout. The science of healing. There are 2 projects in the science of healing, the healing machine and musical stained glass. A healing machine can be invented that will allow the human body to be tuned up, much like the present-day electronic piano tuners. The ketone for each and every one should be found. A blood test to find the ketone should be done at the 6 weeks checkup of the baby. Health problems will not start until the babe is at least 6 weeks old due to protection from the mother's bloodstream still being with the babe. But from that moment on, the vibratory rate of the blood needs kept up. The overall purpose of the healing machine will be as preventative medicine. It will give an accurate gauge as to what is going on inside a human body from the viewpoint of all parts of that body. This can be directly registered by body fluids. The machine then can give a dose of a mineral or vitamin if needed to clear the blood of toxins or any number of other things, such as cholesterol. It will have the capability of drawing from every possible herb and mineral to match the exact reading of the person's blood. The healing machine will also act as an electric stimulator. The forerunner to this usage would be an electrical acupuncture process which would allow direct feeding of vibration into the cells of the body. When the healing machine is completed, this will be as electrical impulses for a limited time period. They will be longer for the physical body aspects, becoming progressively shorter for the emotional and the mental bodies and their corresponding aspects. The length for the physical body aspects will be approximately as follows: 60 seconds for the emotional aspect, 45 seconds for the mental aspect, and 30 seconds for the physical aspect. The treatments for the emotional body aspects will be 50, 35, and 20. And for the mental body aspects, 40, 25, and 10. The spiritual body aspects will have a 5-second pulsing at a faster vibration, an octave higher vibration than the ketone itself. The saliva will be tested daily and will give an overall look at the total physical body. Saliva will give the true makeup of one's internal digestive system factory at all times, because it will reflect the constantly changing state of the body at any given time. The machine will also give advice as to nutritional intake needed that day to hold the pitch up. Once normal or desired levels of vitamin and mineral content are established for each person, the machine will give helpful printed guidelines. This would be a quick reading each morning and will advise them as to what is needed in the sustenance department that day. In other words, for the most part, All food to be ingested that day can be printed out in the morning, a daily menu. There will be many steps involved in building this healing machine. The first important one is the vibratory charts. Then the next step is the blood test to find each one's ketone, which will be done with the KeyTone Machine that will be incorporated into the healing machine. The healing machine will do a combination blood and saliva test. Whichever fluid is entered will be the one measured. It can measure any body fluid, including urine and semen if needed. The full-scale lab model will be needed to do this. The smaller home model will be strictly for saliva. Musical stained glass. Lighted stained glass butterflies or other designs could be made with perfect tones emanating from a hidden recording for each color. These stained glass butterflies would be made by taking each one's 3 colors found by the blood test and incorporating them into a butterfly sun catcher. It would have a music box in it with the melody of each person's 3 tones embedded in their essence. In other words, the interpretation is frozen in stained glass and made available with the music boxes.